Hello. So today we're not running around looking for things. I brought a little bit of the beach here. So it's a lot of fun to go along the beach and pick up things. You just want to make sure that there's no live critters in there. And a lot of times people want to draw these fun seashells, and they look really simple, right? They're just a circle, and then people go to draw them and they really have a hard time trying to make them look like a seashell and not just some random round thing. So I'm going to show you some fun tricks to make things look really 3D. I have paper here that's just scratch paper that was watercolor that I cut up. And it's fun to draw on top of things that have been watercolored because it gives you an instant background, and you can draw with lighter colors and it shows up really well. So I'm using some just chalk pastels today. This one's a charcoal, and they're all light, white, beige, and yellow. So if we look at these, maybe we'll just work on this one because it's the most simple, right? It's super, super simple. Oops. So more simple seashells have the potential to look the worst because they're so simple. How do you make them not look like a blob? All right. So first thing you want to do is make the shape. It's really just round, right? So when I do circles, I keep my arm off the table and I just do lots of circles until I get it right, because once we fill it in, I'm going to draw a little darker so you can see what I'm doing here. Once you fill it in, your brain's not going to see all the other things. Now, we've got all these lines going across, and if you take your hand and just kind of trace it in the air, it curves, right? So, and it all comes to this point here. So you can even make a little dot here for reference and just draw it back so that all the lines go to that point. See how I'm curving my lines? Let me make it a little darker so you can see. Video, sometimes it's hard for that to come across. Okay, so already it's looking pretty round and pretty 3D, right? And the top is a lot lighter, so I'm going to add some more of my chalk over here and really define which shape I'm going for. You can, again, you can trace it in the air if your mind and your hand are having a hard time talking to one another and saying, you know, this is really what I want to be doing. Okay, it's already starting to get there. Now we can take our darker color, and these ridges, the light is hitting it so you can see the ridges. We can do the same thing with the darker color, and maybe not as much at the top because there's so much light coming up there. Okay, now I'm also, if you're noticing, I'm pushing harder on this side and lifting up when I come over here, because look how much lighter it is over here. Okay, now there is a lot of this kind of orangey brown in here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that in here. Yeah, and it's all more towards the end over here. And I'm just kind of using loose strokes. I'm really, in a sense, kind of scribbling. But it makes it look a little bit more organic when you do that. And you can do a little bit on the edge. Now we've got a really dark area right in here because it's flipping over. So let's darken that in so you can really tell that the seashell comes around, and the edge is rough, right? So if I push and lift up all the way around, well, at least till I get to the back, it helps make it look like you could actually lift it up, like it's on the table. Okay, and I'm going to do a few lines going this way. And our hand naturally curves, pivots with your elbow, right? So you can turn your paper and it'll make it easier to make these curves faster without much effort. Okay, it's already starting to get there, and I'm going to come a little bit from this side too. Maybe a little bit more. This seashell was last year at this time. I was in Sanibel with my mom and my sister, picking up seashells on the beach. Much different than this year where we're all kind of stuck in the house. Unless you live near the beach, that's fun. Okay, so this is just a really quick version of how to draw a seashell to make it look, oops, more round. So I'm going to add a little bit more white on here just to highlight this area. Ooh, lots of squeaking. And I want to keep some of that watercolor peeking through because that's fun. But I also want to highlight this area a little bit more. There you go, a little seashell. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.